After Callan, you landed a job at the International House. How did you manage that?
After Kellen, I went on to do my CELTA at International House London, and I remember watching my tutors, my CELTA tutors, and really looking up to them. And I had this dream at that time. I thought to myself, oh, I really would like to be them. Or one day like to teach at International House and be a CELTA tutor. So in that sense, I could say that I managed to fulfill my dreams. How did I land in International House? I did quite well on my CELTA, and my CELTA tutors were kind enough to recommend me to the directors of studies at the school. And so shortly after my CELTA, I got a job there as an English language teacher.
You seem to have done pretty well for yourself. What advice would you give a foreigner trying to make it in a city like
I
London?
would hardly dare claim that I've made it at all in London. But I have been here for 11 years, and I suppose to anyone who would like to live in a foreign country, may it be London or anywhere else in the world, I would say be patient. It takes quite a while to get to know a culture, a community, and perhaps even a lifetime. And sometimes it's simply about trying to adapt whilst maintaining your own identity in the process. I feel British in many ways, and there are many things about the British that I might still have difficulty relating to, but nevertheless I would like to say I embrace those differences, and as my dad used to say, grab the best things that you learn about each culture and put them all together, and that's what I'm hoping to do. Grab the best things that I find very appealing about the British culture, and those that are appealing about the Singapore culture, put them together and you get me.
You're quite a grammarian, aren't you? What sparked off
No,
this
no, 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 I'm
interest?
not a grammarian at all. I am interested in languages, I'm interested in communication. I'm very interested in how languages interact with society and how they interact with our identity and how the way we see ourselves. I'm very interested in sociolinguistics, but that's sort of the big picture, and in order to understand the big picture, we need to understand the building blocks of language, how languages are organized, and I suppose that would be called grammar. Also, as an English teacher, I'm interested in how my students learn to mean in the words of Halliday, and if it requires me to look at different views on grammar, may it be systemic functional grammar, or pedagogic grammar in the course books, or transformational grammar. I would like to take all of that and pick out what's most useful for my students in order to help them achieve their goals in learning English. But no, not a grammarian at all.
You're doing your MA. How is that going? Could you tell us about it?
Yes, I am doing my MA in Applied Linguistics and English Language Teaching at King's College London, and I'm in the last stages of it. There's just that minor thing of the dissertation to finish. I've really enjoyed the MA. I've met some really interesting people, some really good friends on it. But more importantly, it's really sparked my entire interest in continually developing in my knowledge in sociolinguistics, and also the whole area of English as a lingua franca, which is the topic of my dissertation. What I will be looking at is polite requests within non-native speaker to non-native speaker communities, but not so much the ability to communicate ideas as such, but the ability to communicate personalities and impressions. I think a lot of the research into applied linguistics and linguistics and into ELF has been about misunderstandings in communication, but that misunderstanding tends to focus on superficial communication, what you mean, as opposed to the impressions you're making. So I'm conducting a survey of the perceptions of different types of polite requests to see if those formulaic expressions that we teach our students to use, such as could you, or would you mind, or I was wondering if you could, whether these formulaic expressions really do come across as polite or impolite in the eyes of a non-native speaker.
Now, Chia, you're also quite a dogma fan, aren't you? Do you mix this style with other more traditional methodologies in your IH classes? Do you choose which class to use dogma on, or do you tend to juggle methodologies according to moods and such?
Yes, I am a dogma teacher, but first let me be clear on this. Dogma is not a methodology as such. I see dogma as an approach to teaching. I've called it improvised principled eclecticism because it's about drawing upon all that you know about teaching, whether it be methodology or knowledge about language, and pulling out from that bag of tricks what suits those students at that point in time, and tailoring the lesson to suit their needs, their wants, their interests, etc. In that sense, I don't believe in throwing the baby out the bathwater, so every single dogma lesson could look totally different. I could be doing running dictations in one lesson, intensive listening in another, grammar translation in another. What makes dogma different from everything else is the fact that we're not constricted and restrained by a course book, by a syllabus, but having the students dictate where they want the lesson to go. And that to me should be what all good teachers do. Does it sound arrogant?
Do you find that dogma works only under certain conditions? For example, smaller groups?
I don't think I'm the best person to comment on this question, mainly because ever since my CELTA, I've been teaching at International House London, and the biggest group I've ever taught was made up of probably about 16, 15 students. So yes, I've mainly taught with smaller groups, but well, I actually strongly believe that even with bigger groups, you could definitely use the students as the resource and let them and tailor a lesson that suits their needs, definitely.
What next, Chia? Will you stay in the UK? Is it true that you're engaged to be married to a Scot?
Yeah, I guess. I would love to stay in the UK. It feels like home to me. In fact, I think I feel more at home in the UK than I actually do in Singapore when I go back on holidays. Yeah. And yes, I got engaged in June to a Scotsman up in the Orkney Islands in Scotland. It was very romantic. And that's all I would say on the matter.
Okay, tell me, Chia, do you think you will go back to Singapore? Do you think they will value you as highly as we do you here in the West?
Do you value me very highly in the West? Okay, to be honest, it's very difficult to make a comparison between Singapore and the UK because I've mainly taught in the UK, mainly in London, but I would definitely love to visit some English language schools in Singapore and even the Applied Linguistics department in the National University of Singapore, but until then I really couldn't tell you.
What do you like doing in your free time?
I don't have a lot of free time at the moment. I'm collecting data for my dissertation, for my MA, and running a CELTA as we speak. So it's a bit hectic. But when I do have free time, I like watching TV and my DVDs. I collect DVDs. I've got about 500, and and I categorize them according to genre and then according to its alphabetical order. A bit Monica from Friends, some say. Aside from that, I like reading if I have time to, and when I feel like I need to be productive, I write a blog post. That's about it. I don't go out very much. I'm quite a home person.
What's your plan after you finish your MA?
Oh, I can't wait to finish my MA. I know it sounds really bad, but I can't wait to see the back of that dissertation. And after that, I've got a nice holiday in Singapore waiting for me. I'll be visiting my family and friends and sinking my teeth into some really light reading. I've got my Agatha Christie novels and the entire collection of Suki Stackhouse. We're going to watch lots of DVDs, lots of films, lots of TV series. And after that, I don't know. The reason why I did the MA was because I started to feel a bit stagnant, and I don't like feeling stagnant. I feel like I needed to move forward. That's why the MA. So until the next time I feel stagnant, we'll see.
Well, Chia, that was good fun. Thanks ever so much for doing this, and good luck.